Hi, and welcome to Collaboration Wednesday with the Grunin Foundation. I am Jeremy Grunin. I'm the president of the Grunin Foundation. We are fortunate to be joined today by Gwen Love. She's the executive director of Lunch Break in Red Bank, which serves our community in so many different ways. And Gwen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for having me. What a great honor and a great privilege I have to have this to talk with you. I'm excited.
The privilege is ours, Gwen, because whenever we talk in the nonprofit world in Monmouth and Ocean County about kind of like, what great looks like relative to an executive director or CEO, then your name invariably comes up. And I'm fortunate to have you on a board with me, and
Mm-hmm.
we see each other pretty regularly when times are normal, right? I mean, this is craziness.
Yeah.
So tell me how Lunch Break, first, why don't you tell us a little about Lunch Break for those that may not know, and then tell us about how you've had to pivot what you've been doing over these last 2 months.
Well, sure. So Lunch Break, we're celebrating 37 years of being in the community and just helping feed, first and foremost, those in the community, both with our soup kitchen as well as our food pantry. And that's where we started. And then, we also have a very, very robust clothing distribution program. That's where we started. And then over the years, we've added, mentorship programs for young boys and for women, our adopted family program for the children during the holidays, backpack, the cooking class for children. I mean, we just really, really have evolved very, very much into a full service social service agency. And we serve Monmouth and Ocean County as well. With many of our programs as well. So, and everything is free, which is really, really wonderful. In normal times, we've had over 2,000 volunteers in the course of a year coming through our doors to help us with all the heavy lifting that we have that takes place 6 days a week. We are pretty much supported financially by individual donors, foundations, corporate grants. We have pretty much had a philosophy of not necessarily going after the government grants, because many of our programs and in terms of individuals that we serve, we have to be very, very discretionary in terms of who they are, how we give out, and not have to have our hands kind of tied as far as how we give food out and things like that. So, but that was before COVID, as you said. That was before COVID. 6 days a week. We're still 6 days a week. But we have pivoted, which is like the main word that we're hearing today. But we had pivoted to try to get ahead of anything that could possibly, hurt any of our staff, volunteers, and even the community in terms of this virus. So we changed the way that we've given out food, but we're still serving. So we're now, instead of allowing, individuals to come into lunch break, they're actually being served hot meals, coffee outside, so we have set up a little station inside of our dining room where we're handing food out. And the same with our client choice food pantry, where people came in and they could go around into our client choice pantry and they could actually select their own foods. We're now kind of reverting back to how it was back in the day, where we are pre-bagging foods and they're riding around with their car, they pop their trunk, and our volunteers are loading them up and everything. So and then pretty much all the other programs have been suspended, which is very difficult. We are trying right now to revitalize the clothing distribution program by first going through everything we had, which was mainly winter clothing, and now we're trying to identify what we do have that we can provide for spring and summer clothing, because we know this time of year that families are looking for clothes for their children. The kids can't wear what they wore last year. They've grown out of those things. So we're hoping that we have some clothing in our pantry so that we can provide those means. But we got ahead of it. We kept everyone safe, we hope, and we are feeding still, and that's one of our core programs. Right.
That's great. So Gwen, about how many volunteers do you have? I mean, talk about collaboration. This is really a community, a big time community project. So how many volunteers would you say you're utilizing on a regular basis?
You mean now, not before COVID, right? Now?
Well, what was the now and then?
Well, the then would have been on a daily basis anywhere between 40, 45 volunteers on site. And now we're keeping it to about 15 volunteers, at a very, very minimal. And these have been the same ones that have been working with us throughout the COVID. So we kept it very, very tight and close. During the time of COVID, many of our volunteers were seniors. And so, we pretty much lost them during that time. They started leaving, kind of on their own before we even started
Sure.
COVID, listening to everything. So, but that's fine. I mean, we totally understood that. And then once we made that switch, we identified some volunteers that were willing to come in. And they've been with us for the last 2.5 months now, just the same ones, pretty much. Most of our staff, all the administrative staff that can work from home, they're working from home. And so we just have, I think it's a total of 9 employees that are there on a regular basis. What we call boots on the ground, that are the ones preparing meals, serving the meals, helping the volunteers in terms of directing the bag, the pantry foods up, the maintenance staff, myself, and my director of operations. So,
Great.
yeah.
So talk to me about, this is about collaboration. And so you have your internal collaboration, which is, moving volunteers together, bringing people into to help you with what you're doing. Talk to me about some of the external collaborations, especially the ones that you've seen over these last couple of months, because I know it's really been a community coming together in a lot of ways. So talk to me about who's really stepped up as partners recently.
So yeah, collaboration. I mean, we've always Lunch Break has always felt like we can't do it all, and so we have to collaborate with so many people in the community that other nonprofits and business community that do a great job as well. But of recent, there's been some ones that have really stepped up. Fulfill has always been a great collaborator of ours, so we're part of that whole partnership under Fulfill as well. But with the COVID, there were some individuals and foundations that really identified and knew what was going to happen, especially when the whole economic part of the COVID came to play, when everybody had to stay from home. And so the Stone Foundation, the Grunin Foundation, just others pulled some funds together and allowed the Parker Health Clinic and the Interfaith Neighbors and HAPCOR, Lunch Break. I know I'm forgetting someone else. It's the Family Children and Service, I believe, to come together and provide funds to give out to individuals and families for their rents and the car payments, the car insurances, their Verizon, all those things like that. And it was really great because we work together with them anyway for housing, and we're always sending people to this one or that one because we don't do those things. But it was great to come together and really even find out more about what each one does. Because in the beginning, when we had these funds that came together, Lunch Break was, putting out money for rentals and putting out money for mortgages. And then to really sit down and say to, Interfaith Neighbors and HAPCOR, listen, how are you using your funds and what did you do before, that so we don't have to expend our funds so quickly for these bigger ticket items. And then, you found out more about their process. We knew that they did those things because we sent people there, but now we need to know how long to take for your process and things like that. So this just kind of gave us an opportunity to have those conversations. And it's wonderful because every Friday, this team gets together and on a call just to say how you're doing. Are the numbers still, big, or how how are your funds? Are they about to run out? Just whatever. And so it's been a great opportunity to do more and dig deeper within those organizations as well. So it's been great. And the biggest benefit really is to the community. Money's getting out to the community, services getting out to the community, in a more organized and productive way.
That's great. That's great. So have you, there's always a concern when people hear or talk about collaboration, there's always concern about the fear of or pride of authorship. Who's going to be the lead dog? Who wants to really kind of drive the process? Do you find that has been something that's been put to the side as we've hit this time of crisis, or is it still an issue?
I definitely saw that it was, pushed to the side because everyone is so busy. It's like, I'll participate. I don't necessarily need to be the lead, because everyone is busy. There's just the whole fact that people are not doing, operating their businesses, their agencies the way they did, before COVID, it's a little more work and a little more stress. And so you don't need that, but the bottom line is that, if we are able to move quickly to make these things happen, the people that benefit are the ones that need it, and they need our help, and they don't need us sitting amongst themselves, trying to be the big dog or whatever, So I think that it was wonderful. It was a great process. I know, honestly, we put the program together. I mean, all of us, over the weekend. It was done in terms of an application process, in terms of a database. All that was actually done over a weekend, and everybody was, giving their input and happy to make it happen. And we were just so blessed that we were chosen amongst so many other nonprofits to actually run these programs.
Yeah, hopefully that spirit of togetherness and collaboration will continue long after COVID-19 is in our rearview mirror, right?
Yeah, I hope so too. And you know why? Because I think it's already there, Jeremy. I think sometimes that this stigma that nonprofits don't work together, I don't necessarily see that that's the truth, really. I see that there are more people that do work together and do pick up the phone and talk to each other and send their clients here and there. And that's my experience, honestly. I don't really see that people are stepping back saying, well, these are my clients and they can't go there.
Yeah. It's interesting because we see it. I think we see it more in Monmouth and Ocean County. Even if you talk to some of the folks that live in North Jersey but work down here and are in the nonprofit world, they would tell you it's not always the same in some other counties or some other areas. It's not that same kind of spirit of togetherness. I don't know what it is about Monmouth and Ocean. Maybe it's the seawater that drives it.
I don't know. Or maybe it's just people don't want to see that it's better than with Sandy, people came together and
right.
They have been formed or are still in place, and then here's another. So hopefully we'll just continue on, because we do see we need each other. It's absolutely a fact.
So Gwen, what would you say? I mean, in closing here, what would you be telling people that are watching this, and what would you say on behalf of Lunch Break to folks to help them? If they have need or if they want help, I mean, where would you direct them?
Well, again, Lunch Break, we don't do it all. So certainly when families come to Lunch Break, they call, we let them know what we can do, but we have a list of agencies throughout the county that we send people to all the time that are doing a good job, that are working really hard on behalf of the individuals and the families. So, I just say we need to continue to work together as far as organizations, continue to share. In terms of people that need help, there is help. There is that COVID money that's out there. The governor's constantly putting out money out there. There's a lot of resources in Monmouth County, and we're really blessed in that regard. And in terms of like any donors or anything, I mean, we are doing a great job, I think, being very responsible. We're helping people in the community. Our numbers have gone, well over 65% of what we were used to. But, thank God for the donors that have been very supportive, and, we just appreciate them all. But I think as far as nonprofits and executive directors and their staff go, everyone is really working hard, I feel, to try to heal and help those in our community that need our help. This is a really tough time right now.
Great. Gwen, I got to tell you, Lunch Break's been around for 34 years. And
37 years. 37.
How long is it?
37.
Oh, 37 years. I missed the first 3 years. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay.
And you've been there, what, 12?
I'll be 12 in October, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all you're doing for our community. Really do appreciate it. And like I said, you really are kind of what makes you make everyone feel great about the work you're doing, and you really show that there is hope for those that need it.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. And you know what? You're a star in my book as well. You really are. You're doing phenomenal work with all the nonprofits. You're a blessing, and we just can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Gwen Love, Executive Director of Lunch Break. They've been around 37 years, guys. I don't know where that 34 came from. That'll do it for today's Collaboration Wednesday. Jeremy Grunin, President of the Grunin Foundation, will be back again next Wednesday with our next installment. Stay safe.